Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Served. Mike, it's a big one.
Let's go.
It's a big one. It's a big show. We have, first time, we've had former number ones. Mm-hmm. I don't know that we've had...
You're a former number one.
I guess we have one every week. Okay, anyways. We've had former number ones. We've had great players. We've had a lot of fun conversations. I don't know that we've ever had an active... person on the show who's walking around Earth going, you know what?
I'm the one.
Who's number one? This person. Today we have Aryna Sabalenka. I am so pumped. Fresh off of clinching the year-end number one ranking, one of 16 women, to have that honor. I don't know Aryna well. I maybe we've met in passing before. I'm a massive fan. I think there are things that she does that is super interesting. The way that she goes about her process, career, interactions with team, being self-aware about what weaknesses are and were, and working backwards to fix them, adjust. I like seeing her success. She is the type of personality that is going to grab someone who is maybe a little bit of a tennis fan and go, you know what? You're coming in. You're coming in because we have personalities, we have excellence. You're now a tennis fan. I think she has that dynamic of a personality. Can't wait to get to that interview. But first, let's get into a quick racket rundown. Easy for me to say. By Wilson, Coco Gauff.
Wow.
So let's backtrack before we all pretend like it's the most obvious thing ever that she was going to win finals, right? Because Coco is now at the point in her career where if things go badly, the criticism comes faster. And when she does well, it's like, oh yeah, well, obviously we all knew about it. No, don't do that. That's not fair. That's not right. All criticizing us, and not even criticizing, just concerned. You know, the serve, the forehand, the defense of the US Open and how she went out against Emma Navarro. The one thing that we always forget, or at least don't have top of mind with Coco, she's 20. She's 20 years old.
It's crazy.
She's 20 years old. Wins WTA Tour Finals, beats, I don't know, a couple of players. Are they any good? Iga Swiatek and Aryna Sabalenka?
Pretty good.
As Larry David would say. pretty good. We'll reference, I don't know how this works, but you guys can figure it out. But we did talk about her serve last week and the adjustments made. I think there's been a grip shift. Not sure how much she's talked about it. But I also talked last week about how the margins on her serve look better, right? So not like the US Open where one's going maybe halfway up the net. The next one she's missing by 6 feet. If she's missing now, it's a tighter miss, meaning maybe she misses by 6 inches long, or maybe she clips the top of the tape. That matters so much at scale. And then you fast forward to her beating Queen Wen in the finals of WTA, and it's 6 1/3, had championship points, let him go, dominated the breaker after that. But 7-6 1/3, 4 doubles, Mike. Right? This isn't, and this isn't, that's a pressure-packed situation, doing something that she hasn't done before, being the best player in a week where we only have the best players for the year. Coco, just a massive, massive week, and a massive, massive post-US Open where she might have needed it more than any other elite player. A lot of questions coming out of the US Open. A lot of questions. And she didn't let those linger through the rest of 2024. Right? She handled them, got through it, went and beat. And also when you have a 1-11 record against someone, getting that win against Swiatek, where it has been traditionally a very, very hard matchup, probably her toughest matchup on tour, wonders for confidence. She's going to sleep a lot better this offseason and have kind of that. I got to think her steps are going to be a little bit lighter when she goes into, problem solving in the offseason. Are we pumped for Australia? There's not as much scar tissue from 2024. I think she's almost deleted all of it. And I think she's getting prepped for a massive year next year. And we're happy to see it because she is just the most responsible citizen that we maybe have in tennis. Big Coco fans. But listen, ATP Finals coming in next week. The never-ending cycle of like Davis Cup after that. November 10th, Mike. Still a lot of tennis to go this year. But you know who doesn't have Any more tennis to go for the rest of this year?
No.
Your year-end world number one, Aryna Sabalenka. I am excited for this guest. Our little dumb podcast, Mike. We're reaching new levels. We have the current year-end number one player in the world for 2024. Aryna Sabalenka is on the show. Here we are.
Thank you guys for having me.
Aryna,
I thought like after that little introduction, I thought you're gonna say like on our dumb podcast we have dumb players and stuff like that.
Well, no. On this podcast, we only have dumb hosts, producers, and tech people. Listen,
I'll be the dumbest one. I'll take this
well,
one.
challenge accepted. Listen, congratulations. It's one of 16 in history on the women's side to finish year-end number one. How do you feel? Are you exhausted? Does it feel weird that the season's over? Like, where's your headspace at right now?
Honestly, like I don't feel that the season is over because this season been a lot. And I don't know, I don't have this feeling yet. Probably when I'll be like, I don't know, tanning on the beach or like doing nothing, I'll realize, okay, this is the off season actually, and we're done and I can relax. But for now, I'm kind of like still stressed a little bit, you know, maybe because the result, the finals affect that feeling. But yeah, I don't know.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you one thing, because I'm not you. I wasn't nearly as good as you, but I went into a similar scenario that you've been in the last 2 years. Exactly one time in my life where you enter the finals and you have to win a match, win 2 matches. There's a math equation each day when you go in, and I'll tell you what happened. I won my first 2 matches, got to number 1, and then lost 2 right away. And it was like, okay, let's take a breath. But talk about kind of going into the finals, especially after last year where you played great. You went in with the number 1 ranking, and then ego ran the table and just played a phenomenal event. Walk us through kind of the stressors of Saudi Arabia and the finals.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't compare these finals to Cancun. Cancun was
It was a dumpster fire.
was interesting experience.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like whoever gets more lucky gonna get this win. You know, it wasn't about tennis or anything. You know, but here, honestly, I wasn't really focusing on like world number 1 ranking and what should I do to finish the year as world number 1. You know, I didn't do that much. You know, just so you know, I was like whatever. And on the interview, they asked me like, do you know what you have to do to finish the year as world number 1? I was like, no, and don't tell me, please. I don't want to know that. You know, I wanted to focus on my tennis and just stay focused. And as you see, after winning 2 matches, the news were everywhere, and I was like, oh no, please, just don't do that to me. And I probably that's why I lost my focus, kind of. And I don't know. I've at that moment felt like I did everything I could in this season. I don't have any energy left to compete and to fight.
See, Mike, Mike, I think that's why she's the best, is because when I had that moment in time, the one time, my reaction wasn't, oh no, don't tell me. I'm like, tell me more. What did I do? What did I do? It wasn't exactly the Tiger mentality that I was giving. I was like, give me beers and tell me that I was awesome for this year. A little bit different.
No, I don't like actually to hear like how good I am and what else I need to do to finish the year as number 1, because I can, you know, I don't like it. I want to stay focused. I want to stay sharp, and I don't want like have this little lose moment and to relaxed. Well, it's too much.
It's interesting because you say you don't want the loose moment. I have written here, and it was gonna happen later in the interview, but it seems like an obvious segue exists. One of the things that I think that people are drawn to with you and your personality, especially as you start winning majors and people start getting to know you even more. I think what was well received and obvious inside of the tennis world is now you scale up, right? Now it's a mainstream attention, and it's a little bit different, but like you always seem like you're having fun, right? There's not a world in which I would ever tell my trainer, and Jason I knew from when he was working on the men's tour before, but to put a fucking tattoo on his head, at a U.S. Open final. Like that's a crazy thing to do for me. But you say you don't want these moments of fun, but then it seems like you all just live a massive moment of fun all the time. What am I getting wrong?
I don't know. I mean, it's just us, and we're not trying to be fun. We're not like we're not faking anything. That's just us. And he made the promise. To be honest, I forgot that he promised me, like, okay, if you make it to the finals, I'm gonna make this tattoo on my head. And I was like, okay, whatever, deal. And I forgot about that. And then it's a match day. We're having like lunch before the warm up and whatever. And he just like put this tattoo on the table, and I'm like, what's that? And he's like, you forgot, like, I made a promise. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's do that. So we did it on the lunch table. And yeah, this is how we are. I mean, I think it's really important to first of all, like, find the right people, the people you feel like relaxed surrounded by, and people you can trust, obviously, so you can have fun. You can just show your own personality. You can just go and do. Are we allowed to curse here or no?
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually encouraged. Fun fact, we're the only tennis podcast that exists that has the explicit rating on YouTube. So yes.
So yeah, we can do whatever shit we like to do on and off the court.
It's good. Nice little warm up. We'll get into it now. Perfect.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I have the right people, and we're always having fun, and it's important to balance it because we're all facing these pressure moments and expectations and goals and all of that stuff. And I think without like having fun and enjoying the journey, I mean, you just can get crazy in a couple years and just retire sooner than you probably wish. So yeah, we're just trying to balance it out.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the perspective that you just dropped on us is, from where I sit, is an observation that a lot of players have later, where we look back and say, you know what, I wish I would have enjoyed those smaller moments more. I wish I would have given credit to the present a little bit more, and that would have made it better long term. I think you realizing that in real time, I think is a real gift, and it's good perspective.
Like after the tournament, after winning the title, and you sit there, and what you remember, you actually remember those funny moments, like during the tournament. You remember those tough battles you overcome, like stuff on court, whatever. Like you were able to push yourself to the limit to get the win, and you remember those moments. You don't remember like actual win moment. You remember like the journey to that trophy. So it's not like I got to this point like at first year on tour,
Mm-hmm.
Like it took me a little while to realize like what is actually about, and since that, like, I would say that the last 2 seasons I'm actually really enjoying having fun, and like I don't have that fear of losing anymore, like at the beginning you're afraid of a lot of stuff, losing points, defending points, and I don't know, like losing the position and all that stuff. But then you're like, I don't care about that. I lose the point. I lose my ranking. Whatever. I'll gain it back. And you just have to enjoy it.
Yeah, I've been on doing our the post game show on Tennis Channel, and then we were discussing you last week on the show, and I think I think you're flipping lazy narratives on their heads, right? Because forever and a day we've looked at players who emote, right? Where you can see those moments of frustration, you can see the moments of insecurity, you can see the banter back and forth with your team, you can see the emotion, you can see the highs, you can see the lows. And for 40 years, we've equated that very lazily with, oh, that's not mental toughness. Mental toughness looks calm and stoic, and it's Sampras, and it's the quiet players. And I think you have completely flipped that on its head, because it doesn't matter what's going on in your life. It doesn't matter if you are having issues with a given shot. It doesn't matter. I completely admire your ability to be who you are, and also, like, you didn't need everyone to think a certain thing. You just were tough, right? Like you didn't need the accolades to go along with it, but props, because I'm on here. I'm going, when are we just going to say that she deals with these moments as well as anyone in the world, and she's one of the mentally tougher players on earth? Like at some point, results have to win in this conversation.
Well, yeah, I absolutely agree with you that calmness is not the show of mental toughness. Like, but it's for some people it works. It's not
Sure.
like, okay, there is only one way. No, there is not only one way. Like some people, this is just the way they are. They hold everything inside. For me personally, I found that, I don't know, for how many years I was trying to figure out my emotions, and everyone told me like I have to keep it inside, I have to stay calm, I have to be like that player, like no emotions player, But this is not who I am. And we spoke with the team, and that's why sometimes you see those those funny videos of me like yelling at my team, throwing the racket at the US Open, which I didn't throw the racket. I was actually trying to pass the broken racket to my coach, but whatever. And we have these emotional moments, and it works for me, because for me, if I hold it all inside, like I get too crazy, and I want to, like, it's too much, like so much of angriness inside, and I cannot think clean. I cannot think about what should I do on court. I just get into that emotions, and that's it. And that's how I used to lose all of the matches, because I was tense all the time. And now with like, okay, I feel pissed for whatever reason on court, like I missed the easy shot, whatever. I can throw the racket, and I can yell Aryna, I can whatever, say some terrible stuff to my team just to throw it out. And okay, and then I recharge, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to think, I'm ready to throw that angriness and that craziness about winning, like on the opponent, and then I'm ready to go. And this is where I get this mental toughness, is like I'm throwing it out, and then I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I was sitting next to someone who's a fan of tennis, and peppering with questions at your US Open final. And listen, it goes a certain way, it ebbs and flows. In the second set, it's going away from you. You come back, and they're going, "Well, look, she's frustrated. Is this going to get away from her?" I'm like, no. She's literally letting this go so that she can navigate the next 20 minutes of her US Open life. Like at some point, we have to look in the mirror and say, listen, this is her process, and this is what works best for her. Like, I mean, not all personalities are the same. McEnroe's a nut job, but like I don't think he could have acted any differently. Like, I don't think that's the best version of the way that he could have acted. Anyways, I think you're doing wonders for not just defining mental toughness a certain way.
Every player should find their own way how to stay focused and how to stay mental tough during the match, and always keep fighting the way. And you have to find your personality, the way it works for you. I agree with you. There is so many different ways to control yourself and to be a fighter.
Thank God, because if you would have come in here and told me that was wrong, and I'm just going like, guys, at some point we just have to call her incredibly mentally tough. She's in tough situations every week, and she always steps up and hits her shot. I don't know. I've become a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of process, progress, and to see your kind of tennis journey in the last 4 or 5 years, it's just a testament to hard work, self-awareness, and having the right people around you. So I'm a huge fan of what you've done.
I'm just lucky to have my team around me, to be honest.
Good. I'm glad that
you work from them.
I'm glad you say it out loud. I'm glad they realize it. It seems like they are so passionate about you, and I'm sure that's because of what you give to them as well. So it's just fun to watch. The other thing that I think is just lazy in tennis coverage is because you are so powerful, right? And it's very obvious to everyone watching that the first 3 balls you hit in a match, it's like, okay, it sounds different, it looks different, but you became a great champion who has won multiple majors off of the heels of a serve that has more variety now, off of you're not scared to take one hand off the racket on the backhand side. There's nuance to drop shots. So you have this base set, which has always been very obvious to all of us, but talk about the work that goes in perfecting the parts of the game that are not just a natural gift to you.
Well, it's been a long process on improving my my God, I cannot say that word. I don't know. Variety.
Yeah.
Is it right?
Nailed it.
Yes. That's a win. On my game. So exactly that word. It's been a while since we were trying to improve all of the possible shots. But I would say that I think I came on tour as the hard hitter, and I've been told for measure time of my career that I'm not talented, and I only can hit balls, and I'm good at the baseline probably, and I have to work on that consistency, and I'm a big server, and that's it. And that's what I've been told till my 17, 18, and I actually believe that, to be honest. And I was just a hard worker. Like I could stay the whole day on court and keep working, keep trying to find the right shot and the right technique for me. But then we start working with my coach, who is actually quite young, but I saw this this vision on me that I can actually be not only aggressive player, but I can defend, I can use the slice, and I have touch and everything. And we've been working on that since, for the last 4 years, I would say. And finally, thanks God, things start working together, and I start feeling like where is the moment to use those shots, when I can go for the drop shot. Actually, drop shot, I've been always, like, for the last 5 years, I've been always good at practice court. Like, I could do drop shot like nonstop, but I just couldn't understand, like, how can I use, like, when I can use it on court and when is the right moment. And I just didn't have this understanding, and then I played that match against Vitalini in Rome, and I was injured. My back was hurting a lot, but it was quite principal match. And I was like, okay, whatever gonna work today, I'm gonna take it. And I was like, I'm just gonna drop shot every other point, and let's see what happens. And I don't know, I think I made like 30 drop shots. And after that match, I started to understand, okay, I know how can I use it, where, when, and where I can use it against whom. And so, yeah, it started working better together, and we started working a little bit more on those touch, on that touch game. So, yeah, I would say that I wouldn't win a Grand Slam without improving my defend game, my serve, to not only overhit the serve, but sometimes put the player like under pressure by like changing the rhythm, the speed, the kick serve, slice serve, like just mix it up a little bit. And I think that's what helped me to win all those measures tournament, because having this variety, it's putting, you see, I said it right. So proud of myself.
It's improving on weaknesses.
So having this variety is actually putting so much pressure on the opponent, and now they have to guess, like, if I'm gonna drop shot or I'm gonna go for my heavy shots. And I feel like when they step into the court, I can just hit through them, and they're not gonna get the ball in the right point,
Yeah, and the thing that most casual tennis viewers don't understand is that if you hit a couple of drop shots early, right, but you also have the power set to go through someone, you might lose the point on the drop shot that you hit, but then all of a sudden your opponent has to check step forward half a step or a full step, and then all of a sudden she's gained ground 3 or 4 points later because she's actually just shown that she is capable of hitting the drop shot. And I'm glad you mentioned your fitness as well, because your movement in and out of the corners, right? If all of a sudden, Aryna Sabalenka can walk up, and we know that she can walk up and punch someone in the mouth, figuratively, on the court, but then all of a sudden, when you do get the upper hand, she's able to get neutral. That is a frustrating place to be if you're someone playing her. How has that commitment been? Because the movement is a marked improvement from 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, I agree with you. And we are working with Jason for 5-6 years. And I would say that the first years we were just trying to figure out what's going to work better for me. We were trying to work with the weight, but my genetics is so good, thanks my parents, because like I gain weight so quickly. And, you know, like the first year we worked with Jason, I probably gained like 5 kilos. Like for 2 weeks, we were doing like some weights and not like heaviest weight. And like after 2 weeks, I was like plus 5 kilos. And I was like, okay, probably it's not going to work on court because I felt like too heavy. So then we changed the program, the program we were doing, and it's also like didn't work. It was like a long process on first of all building the right muscles, because when I first got to Jason, I didn't have my back was weak, my glutes was weak, my hamstring, like I was weak, you know. I didn't have enough of like tennis muscles, like the muscles I'll need on court. So we were trying like for, I don't know, several years we were working on those muscles just to get them stronger. And then I think in the past 2-3 years we figured our way of practicing that body weight, a lot of mobility, a lot of active mobility, I would say. And of course there's conditioning trainings, like a lot of running, and that stuff is working really well for me, and I feel really good and connected on court. Another thing that I was disconnected, like my upper of my body with my legs were so disconnected on court, and I was like, you know, like a bit off the balance all the time. So we worked on connect the whole body. So when I hit the shot, like where the heaviness come from is from this balance, you know.
I love these descriptions, because when you hear tennis commentary and, you know, you hear kind of, I think, lazy questions, it's like, oh, your movement's improved. That's great. But like it's I don't think people understand that it's a conscious commitment to years of your life. And then all of a sudden you happen to be watching a match and she's moving well. And it's not as simple as like, oh, that's great. Like it's a grind process. You're trying to trim margins by 1 or 2% that lead to maybe you stealing a point at 4-all in a US Open final or something, and that's the payoff, right? It's a lot of work for those small moments. A couple more questions, and then we'll let you enjoy your off season, or at least the start of it, or try to. Hopefully, you're less stressed now than when we started.
I'll go to the airport in a couple hours. So.
Unbelievable! It never stops. It never stops. Talk about so. I do have a bone to pick with you. I was angry with you you didn't even know this because we don't know each other, but okay. I was angry with you earlier this year because I I was on a family vacation, and not like you give a shit about this, but we do a show where we're doing, you know, I land, producer Mike gets on, and it's like, okay, before we start this, I'm jet lagged, the whole thing. I get on, we have to get a preview show for Wimbledon out. Right. And I'm like, oh, man, okay, well, I know who I think's going to win. Like it was pretty obvious to me at that point. And then fuck it if you didn't pull out 6 hours after I made my call. But so, and then I had to come on. So I had you and you and Pegula.
Thank you so much for picking me. I really, it means a lot.
Yeah,
thank you.
Well, yeah, sure. And then, so I basically just I chose you and Jess to get to the finals of Wimbledon. And then once the US Open came around, I said, I can't do this all over again. I'm just going to be lazy and pick the two that completely screwed me over at Wimbledon. And it ended up working out that time, which was
okay. Then
which was
probably
great.
For the next Grand Slams, can you don't pick us? So we actually make it to the finals. Thank you. That's the deal.
Yeah. Hey, Techie, producer Mike, can you make a note?
Yeah, I got a note.
Got it. Okay.
Please, yes. Remind him every
Perfect.
Grand Slam.
I don't know. I mean,
we're not the players to pick up.
I could make an argument.
You can blink like, okay, I picked them, but like, don't say that.
We'll throw an asterisk up.
I could argue against this though. Like I picked you twice in the last 2 and you won half of them. That's a pretty good clip rate. Like if you win half the slams you play in for the rest of your career, that's not the worst, right? I mean,
I'm happy with that. Okay, then it's worth it.
Yeah. Talk to me about, because I'm fascinated by. I still think you at Wimbledon, we haven't gotten to see enough of you, obviously for various reasons, not playing a couple years ago, and then this year with a shoulder injury, a semifinal run sandwiched in between. But for you, as a fan of tennis, I'm frustrated because I think your game obviously fits Wimbledon so well, especially with the new tools that you have in your arsenal. how big of a deal is it for you to kind of establish that regular cadence at that tournament?
Well, I mean, I was actually quite frustrated. I had to pull out because I felt that, okay, now probably I'm ready to get really far in this tournament because I have all of those tools. I have a slice game, I have a drop shot, I have a serve, I have a quite strong ground stroke. So I felt like, okay, like I felt so good going into the Wimbledon, especially after Roland Garros experience when I didn't win the match. I felt so bad in the stomach, and I was like so hungry for playing the Grand Slam. I was so frustrated, and I'm really excited for the next year. And I hope we're gonna be ready, like 100%, to play. And hopefully, we'll make it happen. Your call, like probably it's gonna happen 1 year later. But I definitely feel like I've got more confidence going into the Wimbledon.
Was there a moment so obviously not playing Wimbledon is a disaster for a player, especially someone who can play on grass, frankly. I mean, I think Wimbledon, like you walk onto the Wimbledon and all of a sudden there are a lot less surface experts. I think there's more so than any other surface. You either get how to play on grass or you're searching for how to play on grass. I think she definitely gets how to play on grass. But if there's a silver lining, right, where Wimbledon, the Olympics, you kind of caught a pocket of mental rest, maybe, to where everyone else is grinding for a month and it's high stress situations. All of a sudden, you come out for the U.S. and starting in Canada, but the U.S. summer, and it was pretty apparent that you were going to have your place in that summer. So was there some benefit, not that you would ever choose it, was there some benefit to like at least having a mid-season break, even if it was forced and you didn't want it?
Yeah, I have to say that was, like, looking back now, I think it was much needed. And I had some struggles earlier in the season, like personal struggles. And then like I had like one injury after another one. So I like looking back, I could say that, yeah, my body were like giving up, like you just need to chill. You need to sit back, relax, and start everything over again. So I would say that I'm really happy for that little pause, so I could understand a lot of things. I could recharge my batteries, and I could practice well, and I could go to the US swing like fresher than the rest of the players.
Yeah, it certainly came off that way. I mean, it looked like it was a downhill snowball the entire time, like that whole summer. It looked like you had separated from the field, at least for that month, right? Doesn't mean it's going to happen forever, but definitely in that month. I mean, it felt like you were on
for that moment.
Yeah, you were playing on a different planet than the people who were trying to take you out. So walk us through this off season, right? What do you view? Is it 2 weeks where we're finding a beach and we're putting umbrellas and cocktails for a couple of weeks? Is that in the plans? When do you start again? Are there racket adjustments to be made? How do you kind of negotiate the next 7 weeks or 8 weeks before you go down to Australia with rest, good time, mental break, and also, when do we start the Tiger up again?
Well, definitely not changing the racket. I think my racket working pretty well for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the next couple of weeks, I think 2 weeks, we have I'll be in Miami. Like I'm so tired of traveling around. Like I just want to sleep in my bed, do nothing, no schedule, wake up whenever I want. So it's gonna be like pretty chill days in Miami. Hopefully sometime on the beach, of course, cocktails. And I wish I could say a lot of desserts and a lot of sugar, but I just so afraid of losing my shape, so probably it's going to be kind of like some sort of diet. So 2 weeks of doing nothing, and then we start everything over again. And the preseason, I think I'm going to be in Dubai. So that's the plan.
Aryna, there are not many things that I can give logical advice on to you at this stage in your career. The only thing I can, from outside looking in, the only weakness that I see right there is you mentioning cocktails without actually mentioning your booze sponsor as well. So I'm going to give you another chance. What kind of cocktails are you having?
Okay. double tequila.
There you go. There we got it. We got it. Yeah, there it is. I love it. My only value add is plugging alcohol. Yeah.
Hi to my double family. Yeah. We're here talking about you.
Good. It's great because people only will watch this online in clips, so they'll never know that it wasn't in the first one. Yeah, it'd be great.
They only know that I'm sort of alcoholic, but
yeah, that's it.
But they don't know what I drink. No, but I'm not alcoholic. I want to clear that I only drink to celebrate something, and in this case, I'm gonna celebrate my great season, and that's it. And then I'm not drinking, just so the world know.
I'll tell you something. Imagine, like I said, I don't want to make a joke of people that actually have like a problem, but imagine if it was like, oh yeah, I have like 3 drinks before I go on court. That would have been imagine how impressive her year would be then. Unbelievable.
Maybe we should say that, so the player's gonna start trying to do that, and then it's easier for us.
Yeah, just plant that seed in the locker room.
Yeah. We don't know if it's real.
You just start dropping Dobell bottles at your next opponent's locker the day before.
Yeah, fill the.
Maybe that's the plan. That's the plan for the next season.
Fill the tequila. If it's a Blanco, you fill it with water. If it's not, you fill it with a little apple juice, and just really get in people's heads. People don't know what's happening. Aryna, listen, we won't keep you any longer. We are huge fans of yours. I'm a huge fan of your progress. As a former player, I know your improvements and everything that you have accomplished. It's not an accident. So props to you. Please pass on our congratulations to your team. I just love that you're kind of rewriting the script on how to go about a career. You do your own thing. You're the most effective version of yourself, and you make no apologies for it. I give you a lot of credit for that. Please just get some sleep over the next 2 weeks, because we want to see the Tiger in full flight down in Melbourne. But thank you for joining us on Served. You're awesome.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, go sleep. Hey, all. Welcome back to Served. Special thanks to our friends at Wilson for, I don't know what kind of pull they have beyond providing her with the weaponry to win all those slams. But they helped us get Aryna on the podcast. So props to our friends at Wilson. That was fantastic. Like, every part of that is why the tennis world has come to love Aryna Sabalenka, because it's this weird mix of excellence and self-awareness with a dose of like self-deprecating humor and fun. Mike, what were your takeaways?
I mean, she's as relaxed in person as she seems to be, like, when she's not on the court.
Yeah.
But like, her explanations about, her mental state and letting the anger out and letting everything out and then being able to reset off of that, I thought was just so fascinating. I think everyone should apply that in general life. But I also, from a tennis standpoint, I thought, the drop shot, confidence in her drop shot was born out of necessity, right? Out of injury. And then even the way she talked about, the pathway towards fitness, that she felt weak through her back and her legs. And then that was a multi-year process. And to hear you guys have that conversation. But then also I'm excited to pick her for Wimbledon 2025.
If we're allowed to, we're gonna have to get approval. I just think she's so cool. I think self-awareness is a superpower. I really, really do. And especially in sports, she knows how good she is. Right? She's like, yeah, I was on a different level during the US Open. But that doesn't mean I will be in Australia. Like, I have to keep this machine going. And you could tell that even though she just finished number 1, it's almost like she doesn't want to stop, because she knows she has momentum. She knows she was the best player. These are my words, not hers now, but like, she knows she was the best player for 2024. It's almost like you don't want to stop anything because it's going your way. The other thing, I just love the out and out appreciation of her team, and knowing that it's not listen, she has to go out there and produce, but she understands it takes a village, and she is more than happy to acknowledge and celebrate her village.
Yeah. What would you have done if Brad Gilbert would have walked in and said, hey, I'm going to put this tiger tattoo on my face ahead of a US Open final? I love that story that she forgot they even made that bet, and then she let him ride with it. She just did it.
I will say, like, I would have been like, oh, I don't want like the distraction, because sure as shit, he puts that on his head, and I'm in a box, and people are going, does her fitness guy have fucking head tattoo that he didn't have yesterday. Like but it's, you know,
and she let it go. She just said, yeah, let's enjoy it. This is us.
Or I would have made sure that it was a one-day sponsor for something, but it's just, but I will tell you, like you mentioned that, and like the days of levity where you accomplish something. So Brad Gilbert's scared of heights.
Okay.
Doesn't like them. Nope. And he made a bet that, you know, we got together in the summer before Wimbledon. He made a bet that if I won a Masters 1000 that summer, he would go skydiving.
All right.
I won 2. and sure enough, play finals of Cincy on a Sunday. We're in somewhere out of New York. We had to fly to New Jersey, and his ass jumped out of a plane. And I remember we land, and he's just shaking his head, like full stress BG, walking around like. And I remember we had a car waiting for us to take us back into the city. We drive about 3 minutes down the road. We're still in this residential neighborhood. I watched Brad Gilbert pull over in some random neighborhood in New Jersey and just vomit in someone's lawn.
No.
Yeah. So that's our version of the Tiger tattoo.
There has to be a video somewhere of him jumping out of the plane.
It was before it was before like we lived with a movie studio in our pocket. You know, it's just he will not deny that though. Anyways, but I just love that we're now realizing you don't all have to operate the same way. Like if you're a coach, you can't teach like, oh, I have coaches that are like, I teach everyone, you know, Andre's backhand. And I'm like, no, you don't. They're like no, I'm good at tennis. I'm not capable of hitting that. Like, it's just, I think owning your space. And I think especially on the women's tour right now, it's fantastic. You know, ego runs stress, but she is so dominant in a different way with preparation and movement and the way that she can create spin. Coco it operates in a different way, and we just have great personalities. And I think Sabalenka is a outsized personality amongst personalities. You knew the power was there. You could see the raw gifts. I love that she went into specifics about how to kind of fill those gaps, right, and become a complete tennis player and not just kind of a one-trick pony as far as the power and the being a physical specimen. It's nice when you suspect things for players and they come in and go, yeah, plain speak, this is what we had to do, and this was the checklist, and this is how we went about it. Again, it doesn't happen by accident. So happy that she was able to come on, and also props. She just finished her season.
Yeah.
The last thing she wants to do is get on a Zoom, and
she was heading to the airport like in an hour.
Yeah,
and she jumped on with us. So
very gracious, very nice. We are Aryna Sabalenka fans, like much of Earth is now, and she didn't disappoint. You know, going into certain interviews that they're going to go a certain way. You hope that with Sabalenka, you're going to get the part where she's laughing and joking and making fun of herself and her team, and I think that's why people are drawn to her, and she didn't disappoint. This was fantastic. I was so happy to get the chance to talk to her. You know, it's fun doing this podcast. We don't travel too much, so I like to think we can kind of be unbiased. But listen, after seeing her personality and having a conversation with her, she makes it tougher to be unbiased because she is so forthcoming and honest about everything. So thank you, Aryna. If you like that, be sure to follow us on all the socials. Mike, where do we go for all those?
X, Instagram, I think all at Served Podcast. Social Sophie will hook you guys up with some stuff that'll make your day better.
Awesome. She will. Follow us on all the things that Mike just said. Some weeks you hit the gold mine, right? You get a Sabalenka and all of a sudden interviews are easy. Some weeks you make some requests and it just doesn't fit with schedule, right? This week we got lucky. We got Sabalenka, which is like a dream person to interview because she makes every interview into a comedy sketch. But like mixed with like the realness of what it takes to be a champion. We're going to have another episode released. So if you're listening to this on a Tuesday, which we assume you are in the next couple of days, later today in our studio, we're going to have a chance to sit down with Aryna Sabalenka, which is an interview I'm nervous about because I just want to get it right. Like the scale of what she's done with a war in her home country, becoming a mother for the first time. then having a successful comeback after that. Oh, all the while in a very quiet way, funding large parts of the Ukrainian Tennis Federation out of her own pocket. It's
crazy.
I am amazed and impressed and humbled by what she has done. Maybe we'll get some funny tidbits about Gail Monfils as well. But listen, my respect is so outsized for Aryna Sabalenka, and I can't wait for that interview. So it's going to be a great week of chats. We feel lucky here on Served. We feel lucky that you choose to tune in with us. Hopefully, we'll do these massive champions justice. But we appreciate you guys watching, listening, following, all the things. Thanks. Served.